In my next video, I'm going to conclude this Brooke House discussion by telling you why I think she got away with what she got away with. And believe me, you don't want to miss out on that. It is very informative. It will blow your mind. So in my last video, I explained all the reasons to why I think Brooke more than likely abused her dog. Now in this video, I'm going to explain how she got away with it and where she's likely going to go from here and what happens to her. To recap, news broke out just last week on BuzzFeed that an LAPD spokesperson confirmed that the case against Houts is officially closed after its animal cruelty task force determined there was no crime committed against her Doberman and that it didn't rise to the level of animal cruelty. This was very predictable and I knew this was going to happen. How did I know? Well, immediately after the video leak of her hitting her dog went viral online, the LAPD announced that its animal cruelty task force was aware of the situation and was looking into the matter. Those 4 words, looking into the matter, is just keywords that 9 times out of 10, nothing is going to be done and nothing is going to happen. I've seen this time and time again. It's formulaic. A serious tragedy and or event occurs. If no attention to the matter, stay quiet. But if the public is outraged, we have to address a statement. Blah, 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 blah. We're looking into the matter. Translation, wait many weeks to even readdress this case. Be silent till then. Ignore phone calls. Hide behind closed doors. Eat Cheetos. Drink Coke. Do nothing and waste time. Make water cooler jokes about Geico commercials. And then come back later and basically close the case with just a quick, simple statement with no real explanation. How many times have you seen that with police officers who shoot innocent, unarmed citizens to where they are ultimately released with no charges? Same concept. I tell you, it's happened to me many times as a physician. Anytime I've complained about something to administration, wherever I was at my past jobs, anything about a serious issue, always the same response. We'll look into that. Anytime you good people who are still naive, who's watching this video right now, and if you're caught in a situation where you're told by someone that they're gonna go ahead and look into the matter, guess what? Expect nothing to be done because 9 times out of 10, nothing is done. This false installation of hope is not fair, inappropriate, and only mocks the intelligence of individuals of society, I feel. I mean, this whole Brooke House investigation, if you want to even call it that, is flat out insulting. How doesn't hitting, shoving, and spitting at a dog, how doesn't that constitute animal cruelty? And if not, what is your definition of animal cruelty? Animal task force? What all was done in the investigation? Why wasn't the dog taken away during the investigation? Why didn't YouTube take down her channel at the least temporarily until she was cleared? Why is her channel still up despite public backlash? If the animal task force is truly concerned about dogs, are they even factoring the high probability of PTSD that's been formed in this poor dog's brain probably now? And even by simply looking at Brooke, this can psychologically be damaging to the poor dog and instill a lot of fear and avoidance in him. What about that? Did the task force even look at both mental issues in Brooke and also now the newly formed PTSD in the dog? Are we that antiquated of society that we cannot treat all creatures equally? What about the rights of animals? You see, I can come with all these questions, but in the end, the result is all the same. Apathy. So why wasn't Brooke charged with abuse when clearly there was abuse there? The last thing the Animal Cruelty Task Force wants to do is to set any form of precedent. Since this case is highly visible to public, the last thing they would like to do is to charge her with any counts of abuse/mistreatment. Because, if anything, it'll open up a floodgate of potentially new and many hundreds, if not thousands, of cases of similar events of suspected dog abuse. They are probably already overworked and overburdened as it is, similar to CPS. So that's why they will only charge folks with the severe cases where the dog, or child in CPS's case, is on its deathbed or walking around very emaciated and or feeble. They would rather discourage public on reporting suspected cases of abuse, even though they say they encourage it always. It just adds more burden and more costs. More cases are open, caseworkers are stressed, more caseworkers leave. This creates a high turnover rate, more resources are needed. Bottom line, Their goal is to focus on the most extreme and most severe cases when they really should be focusing on all cases. The system is flawed and can handle only so much. Now, if there was more political pressure and backing of allocating more resources to abuse/welfare systems, then yeah, this will be the only way to improve this. Until then, animals and children will be abused, and more times than none, nothing will be done, just as in this case with Brooke. The whole thing is sad. Sure, the head organizations such as the LAPD do not want to set any legal precedents. However, in reality, it's indirectly setting a societal precedent. This decision last week of not charging Brooke will encourage others to say to themselves, hey, if she got away with it, then so can I. The societal precedent now will probably indirectly be an unnecessary increase in rates of violence of abuse against animals, but hopefully I'm wrong. All around, there's no accountability from anyone. We live in a terrible, broken society where no one wants to be held accountable. Brooke herself didn't own up, more or less blaming her 75-pound Doberman jumping up in her face with her mouth open on Twitter. Well, if that's too much to handle, then maybe you're not fit, at least at this point in time, to be able to take care of your dog. Can we at least acknowledge that? The LAPD did their part. They made their statement right after the video went viral, which, by the way, would have been quiet if no one knew about it. They waited strategically a few weeks till public moved on to other things, and notice how they released news on a day when the public was more focused on a hurricane hitting the States. So no accountability there. Now, what about YouTube? Why can't YouTube take down her channel, right? I mean, it would be the most ethically thing to do, right? YouTube has taken down channels before of little kids putting up their favorite copyrighted music for their Fortnite videos. Besides, they could show a message that YouTube is concerned about protecting their viewers and not condoning any such negative behavior towards animals. But no, of course they won't, because this controversy has brought in a lot more views, and more views leads to more ad revenue. Remember that Logan Paul guy who filmed a video of a corpse in the forest? Why wasn't his video taken down? Because the controversy only brought about more views, and YouTube knew that if they banned him or his channel, they would lose out on potentially more revenue. YouTube is smart in regards to all of this, and they know there are no other real competitors in their domain or space. Where would the people go and leave who are protesting against YouTubers like Logan or Brooke? Where else would they go? There's nowhere else to go, right? Why would YouTube want to throw away more money in the long run just to appease some mild protesters whose numbers, by the way, will dwindle down as time goes by? Look, I'm not directly faulting any of the above mentioned parties, but this is a reflection from a philosophical sense of a flawed system. Lack of personal and or institutional accountability is one of the many reasons to an intellectually stagnant and rather dystopian society. So what's going to happen to Brooke Houts? Unfortunately, I see this animal abuse controversy to be the nail in her coffin in any sort of entertainment career. Even though we live in a benevolent, forgiving society, no one will ever forgive her for this, even though she has not been charged with anything. The proof is in the pudding. The videotape is just enough evidence for us. And abuse on weaker, more defenseless creatures such as children and animals is highly looked down on and not taken lightly. Just look what happens to child molesters who are sent to jail. Another more relevant example, look at Michael Vick. Even though he served his time and was able to return to the NFL, eventually he never was the same player that he was before. And wherever he went, people looked at him as the dog beater. Kind of like what I think what will happen with Brooke. Everywhere that she auditions or makes another YouTube video, people are going to look at her as the dog beater. I think she's going to fade out into obscurity. She may try to come back and make another video apologizing, but it's pretty much too late. Put a fork in her career. Her best bet is to get connected with animal rights groups or other such related animal agencies and possibly try to network or do like a pro-animal video and PR campaigns, pro-PR campaigns if possible. But that in itself may be looked too forced, too gaudy for the public's eye. Yeah, and one last note before I wrap this video up is, so yeah, you know, that's the thing. I don't know if you guys remember back in the 2000s, I think maybe 2000s, mid to late 2000s, I believe, or no, maybe earlier 2000s. Time flies by so fast, but there was a Paris Hilton. To me, this kind of reminds me similar to Paris Hilton. With Paris Hilton, she was a very beautiful woman, just like as Brooke is. But Paris Hilton, a lot of times, would carry with her a dog. So it was like in the form of an accessory, like a handbag or something. Just an extension of herself, I guess is the best way to put it. That's who she was, her character, her persona. However, in this case, you've got Brooke, she's got her sidekick, the dog, and I think in this case, though, eventually, unlike with Paris's case, Paris already had that standability factor. She was very popular, and she had a lot of things, lines going on, this and that, a lot of, projects she was doing. I think with this Brooke person, here she is. She was doing YouTube, rocking with it. All of a sudden, she gets this dog. Yeah, basically, the dog was an extension of her ego. So I think over time, she felt threatened by that dog. Unconsciously, she was sending their impulses, unconscious impulses, fantasies, and wishes of anger and betrayal and wanting, yearning to get rid of that dog. Unconscious again, were just being sent out there towards and directed through predictive identification towards that dog. So yeah, it's a big psychological sort of a, I guess, mess. But this is sort of the easiest way, if I guess that makes sense, to sort of explain it, of why over time that big threat, her own ego, the extension of her own ego, sort of created this sort of downward spiral that eventually led to her demise, into her actually posting that video unconsciously to ultimately destroying her career and in turn her inner self, sense of self-worth. So yes, that's the best way to explain that in a nutshell. So with that being said, thank you so much for watching. Anyways, please like if you want, please comment if you want, it's up to you, and subscribe if you want. I'll catch you in the next video. Take care, bye.